Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Micah and today I have my February wrap up for you. I read a couple of books again last month and I thought we could chat about what I thought of them and what I've read. So that's what this video is going to be all about. In the month of February, I had a bit of a better reading month than I did in January. I read a total of 4 books and one of them was also again a little bit of a bigger one, and that was the last book that I finished. I've also decided to take on audiobooks this month, although I can't chat to you about that just yet because I haven't finished one yet. Since I haven't finished it yet, I will make sure to put that in my next wrap up because I'm pretty sure that the first book that I will have read on audiobook will be coming up in that wrap up. But yeah, that's an ongoing thing, so I now have another book still on the go. But I did read 4 other books this month, and let me just get started on those. So the first book that I read this month is a book that I absolutely loved and that I just had to put on like my all-time favorite book list by now. I read Daphne the Maurier's Jamaica Inn, and I bought this book last year. I had never heard of this author before that, and I just saw this in my local bookstore and was intrigued by the cover. And then I found out that Daphne du Maurier is one of the most famous 20th century Gothic fiction writers, and I love me some Gothic fiction. I did an entire video about Gothic fiction, so I figured I would have to read this. It's a very dark, gloomy sort of book, but for the winter time, it was absolutely perfect. And I really, really liked it. I love the setting. It's like set in Cornwall, and where like all these like dark moors and swamps and people go missing and there's mystery and it's dreary and there's lots of rain and loneliness, and I don't know why, but I love the setting of this. It had a bit of a love story, but it was like not quite a love story, which I also really enjoyed about this book. I thought the main character was smart, sassy, not too sort of like, ooh, look at me, what's happening? But she's like a very good main character, I thought. And yeah, it just had some really, really interesting characters. So if you don't know what this book is about, it's about a young girl who, what's her name again? Mary. And Mary, her mother dies, and her only remaining relative is her aunt. And so she moves to live with her aunt and the man she was married to, and he runs a bar called Jamaica Inn, and she very soon finds out that Jamaica Inn isn't just your regular tavern and that mysterious things are going on, and she is trying to unravel what is going on and what role her very evil uncle might be playing in this setting. So that's what this book is all about. It was dark, it was gloomy, it had a very nice pace to it, very atmospheric. I was definitely in the mood for reading this, and I'm so happy that I already bought Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier because I definitely now want to read more of her books because I love this so much. This was definitely a 5-star read for me. After that dark and gloomy book, I was definitely in for something a little bit more uplifting, a little easier. So I continued on with a series that I love, which is the Invisible Library series by Genevieve Cogman. This is the 4th book in that series, and it's called The Lost Plot. Because I don't want to spoil you, I'll just tell you a little bit in general what this series is about. The Invisible Library, that's the title of the series and the first book in this series as well, is a library that tries to maintain order between worlds. This is a fantasy novel that has a lot of history, so there's like a lot of like historic places, and there are all these parallel universes that sort of play together. Some of these universes are ruled by the Fae, and if that's the case, it's a very chaotic world, and the other worlds are ruled by dragons, and they're very like ordered and structured. And the main character, Irene, is a librarian, and she needs to go to these different universes in order to maintain that order. The library collects books from all of these universes, and she is someone who does that. There's a lot of politics in this series, what like the role of the library is, because they're trying to be neutral. She meets a lot of interesting characters. Each book is again set in like a different historic setting. This one is set in 1920s Prohibition America. Really, really cool. It's got gangsters, it's got guns. It's really, really cool. One of the other ones is set in like Renaissance Venice. Another one again is set in like 19th century London. has steampunk elements. It has so much going for it, and I feel more people should be raving about it. I thoroughly enjoyed this one again, and it's just something that I like picking up as like a nice, bright, uplifting read. These books just make me happy. So after the Lost Plot and something a bit more whimsical and fun, I was definitely in for something a bit more serious again. So I wanted to pick up some more historic fiction again, because I want to do a historic fiction video, but I just felt like I hadn't read any historic fiction I had enjoyed in recent times. So that's why I decided to pick up Belgravia, hoping that this could give me, like, help me remember why I like historic fiction. And this most certainly did. Belgravia is written by Julian Fellowes. He is the creator of Downton Abbey. So I was hoping for a similar vibe in this book, and oh boy, I definitely got it. This is a very clever book. It sort of twists and turns, and I really enjoyed this because it's not overly romantic, even though there is a romance at the heart of the story, but I thought it was very well done. It has a lot of interesting characters that you follow, and the main characters in this book that everything sort of revolves around is a family of tradespeople who have climbed the social ladder and want to be part of higher class society in like the first half of the 19th century. And of course, all of these upper class people, old money, sort of look down on them, but they are trying to earn their place. And there's a lot of intrigue and scheming going on, all centered around this family and everyone they encounter in the years following. So yeah, this was a very enjoyable read, very well done, very well written. It's got a very nice pace to it, and I liked how it was a very nice historic setting without it being overly like, ooh, swoon-worthy or anything like that, because I feel that that happens too much in historic fiction sometimes. So if you're looking for some down-to-earth historic fiction, and this is nice. And then last but not least, the last book I finished in February was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. I promised myself that I would finish the Throne of Glass series this year, and I just decided to bite the bullet and start this nearly 700-page book. Reading it next to work was a bit of a challenge, so I definitely had to commit and like say, okay, now I'm going to sit and read. And that's how I ended up finishing it. For an in-between novel, which I, like, that's the reason why I sort of didn't read this yet, because I just thought it was going to be bad, because I just, you know, like, why is this here? It's like, why does it, what is it going to do? And I asked some people who I knew had read this, like, do I absolutely have to read this before going into the actual final book of the series? And everyone's like, yes, you have to. And having read it now, I can see why they say that, because there's a lot of world building going on in this book that without that, I think you will not be able to understand a lot of the plot line in the last book, because this starts explaining quite a bit, and it adds a twist to the story that you do need to know about in order to continue, I feel. The action in this book, the plot line, runs at the same timeline as the 5th book in the series, Empire of Storms, but at the end of the 4th book, Cale Westphal and Nesrin Falik are traveling to seek support for their cause, and they're traveling to the southern continent, and that is that story. And I was just thinking, oh, will it just be like filler? But no, it really, really opened a lot to this world. It's a completely new world because it's a different continent. The rules are different there. We get like a really, really nice storyline actually as well. I did feel that the book is a bit thick for what it's actually trying to do. I think this could have been half the size. I feel that a lot with YA fantasy, I feel. I really think that a lot of the setting up in the first 300 pages of this book could have been done a little bit more quickly. Maybe it would have been cutting corners, who knows. I just felt that the beginning was a little bit more slow paced, and then in the last 300 pages everything started happening, which is what Sarah J. Maas tends to do. Of course, it does keep you on the edge of your seat because you do want to read what's going on next. Definitely feeds you little granules of information every single time. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in this story. So despite going into this thinking, oh, I don't think I'll enjoy this, I was very surprised by how much I ended up enjoying it. I fell in love with Cale Westphal all over again. Let just that be put forward. I thought he was one of my favorite characters in the earlier books to begin with. So to get more of his backstory I really enjoyed that. So that is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. So those were all of the books that I read in February. I'm definitely looking forward to March because now having read Tower of Dawn, I can't wait to finish off the Throne of Glass series. So I know that I'll be reading Kingdom of Ash. And then I'm also finishing up my audiobook. So I will have lots of new stuff to talk about with you in my next wrap-up video at the end of March. Yeah, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you've read or if you have any suggestions. I love checking out you guys' ideas of what I might like reading as well. So I definitely have gotten some good suggestions on my past book videos. So I really enjoy that. So let me know if you have any suggestions for me. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And if you could subscribe, that would be also lovely. I make new videos 3 times a week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So there's lots of new content coming your way. So I hope you would like to stay tuned, and I hope to see you back in my next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.